Hey, today we are discussing about props and this most important topic in React. So props is nothing but an object, and by these props one component is communicating with other component. And in these images you see if a user is inputted something here like his name, his age, etc. This data is coming from this user input to a component. This is a class component or maybe a functional component. I hope you know this because if you are learning React, you have the knowledge of the functional and the class component. Okay, so this input is coming from the user input component to a parent component. This is also a component. We can say this is also a component. We can say this is a grand component, grand parent component, grand parent component. Okay, so the data is coming from this grand parent component to a parent component, and this data we called is props, as simple as that. And the data again comes comes from this parent component to its child component, and maybe also possible from this child to another child, and this data is also possible this child to another child. So that's what we call is props. So props is nothing but an information and data, and which a parent component is returned, and the props is used by its child component, and this is only possible for one way field. Only parent can send this props to his child, but child can't send this data to his parent. It's not possible. So we know React is working in one-way communication. Only parent can send his props to his child, and like this way a props can come from his grand parent component to his parent component to child, then another child, and that's how the component is communicating between them. So in a nutshell, props is an object, and this object is coming from his parent component to his child component. So in this tutorial we are dividing the tutorial into two parts. In the first part we see what is props actually, and in the second part we solve a practical problems. You see here we solve a practical problems. This input field, like you see here also input field, and if you inputted something here, this data this props comes from this input field to a component, and this is a details component, a parent component. I named it details. Then the data also comes from this parent component to his child component. So if I inputted something, your name is HRG, you see something here second, and your designation is a junior software engineer, and your salary is suppose $2,000. Okay, so if I do something, okay, $10,000. so if I do something, that's a result you have seen. Welcome Mr. HRG, your designation is junior software engineer, and you got a bonus of $15. And this project is completed by using props. So we see these projects. We will make these projects in the part 2 tutorial. So in this tutorial we want to know, or we will see what is props actually is. So for this I want to make a file using props and a file fast.js, and I want to declare this component as a functional component. sorry, and there is a mistake. I have to capitalize it. So here, and this is a return function. The function is a return function. Okay, so I'm writing here a function, and this is a functional component, and if I here I put something like that. So since a variable, suppose x is having something like that, JSX, welcome. Okay, my name is reactJs. So what is this? What is x is, and what is this JSX? This is JSX. This is a React element, you know. If we console this x, then you can see something. Okay, then first I have to import it. Okay, and you have to call it from the app component, and do you know how to call it? So if we saw it, then we can have something like that. This is an object. So what is this? This is an object, console x. X is what? X is an object. Okay, let me do it. X is what? X is an object, and this object has a parameter. You see here is a props. Yes, props, and props says something like that, a children, and this is Anikacharji. This is the children of this props, and this type is h1. Okay, props is 3-4 things. We know that one is children. This is what included or what inside the tag. This is children, and what the tag is, this is the type, and something, another thing is here reference. We will discuss it later. Okay, here there is an object, and under the object there is a property called props, and these props we will send from the parent component to the from the parent component to the child component. Okay, then if we send these props to a component, if we send these props to a component, if we see, okay, like that. Okay, then we'll make another file. This is second.js. Okay, so export default function return. Okay, so this second function I want to import it here. Okay, import. Okay, okay, so here I want to here I want to pass these props to this component. So let me remove this tag, and I want to make it a string. Okay, now what is x? The x is Anikacharji. Okay, I don't want to send the props now, or sorry, send the object now. I want to send the strings now. Okay, so if I call the child component second, you know how to call it. This is a call, and nothing has happened because we actually didn't send the name or send the children or to send the props. So I want to send this props like like this props, or suppose element equal what I want to send. I want to send the x. I want to send this x where from first component to the to its child component. This is second basis is first child component, because we call the second inside the first component. So second is the child component of the first component. Okay, so we send the props by declaring a variable and send the props like that. Why we use curly braces? Because curly braces tells us it's a JavaScript. It's a JavaScript. It's not a string. It's a JavaScript, and we differentiate the JavaScript from the strings by these curly braces. So anywhere if you need to use a JavaScript objects, a variable, a functions, whatever, you have to put the curly braces. Okay, then in second component we passes the element, we passes the props, and now we have to catch these props. So what name we declared element, in the second we have to catch by this name. But if you do like that, it's not possible, because this is a props and this is a JavaScript property. So I told you a JavaScript property is need to catch by the curly braces. Okay, element. Now I can use this props here. Okay, so what this element will come Mr. element. So if we run that code, you can see welcome Mr. Onik Acharya. So this is how a props is working. I just simply do what? Send this data from this first component to its child component, whose name is second.js, and this second component is was catching the props and show or use the props in his component. So this is how a props is working. Hope you understand what is props and how this props is handled or working. And so in the next class we'll try to cover up a practical example. So in the next class we'll see how this practical example or this small project is working by using the props. Your name, put it your name, Jackson. Your designation, suppose your designation is senior manager, and your salary is something like that, $25,000, and you got a bonus of $3,375. So this project will make in the next tutorial. Till then, be happy. Thank you.